I want to give you a little starter of a harmony for Don Tremaine's. So it's in the key of D. I always suggest playing through your arpeggios, the D arpeggio, and then I would expand it. It's worth doing the G. Again. Why not grab that B? And then, of course, the A, because that's our 5 chord. So that was a little bit speedy. If that's unfamiliar for you, go back, slow it down, work it out, or spend some more time really identifying. The D chord has a D, F sharp, and A. Where could you find all of those on your fiddle? And you'll start to notice a skip, skip, jump, skip, skip, jump sort of pattern of those arpeggio notes. Your G, G, B, and D. A is the A, C sharp, and the E. But really finding those, getting comfortable with them. That is where I start most harmonies from. So the tune, when I'm looking at the melody or thinking about how am I going to jump into a harmony here, well, I'm aware it's a D chord and it's starting on the A. That makes sense because that's in the D chord. So I'm going to start on either my D or my F sharp. For fun right now, I'll start in the F sharp. So kind of thinking the melody goes, and I like to kind of imagine what that looks like. Alright, I don't know which way is left to right here for your visual is, but kind of visualizing the flow of it. If you were to paint a picture of where that melody goes. Here it is again. And now I'm going to do the same thing, but starting on my F sharp. Or actually starting on that D for the pickup. Might be a possibility. There's some other ways we can do it. Or if we could start in the D. We could do for a higher harmony. Got a bunch of options. I think that my fingers were most comfortable with. Our second measure would be, I'll do that again, starting on the G. One thing I like to make sure is that where I'm hitting, when I talked about the tune in an earlier video, I'm talking about those notes of the arpeggio that we're hitting. G, G, B, D, B. I want to try to hit those on my harmony, not the same time, not the same notes, but hit another note of the G chord at the same time. So it might be something like B, D, G, or no, that doesn't work. I fell off it. But so really trying to find those same notes. I'll do the melody again. If I started out in that low B. Tying those together. I'll try the harmony now. Let's look at that third measure now. The A, it's an A, and it's an A arpeggio. But it has a G in there. So if we can't start on A, but we could start on our E. Or we could start in the C sharp. You could hit that note earlier. You could hit the A twice. You could go up to the B. And I say that you could. one is going to sound better than the others. I don't know right now off the top of my head which will sound the best because I'm not playing it twice. And I generally find I can work out a pretty good harmony on my own, thinking about it. I can work out a much better harmony listening to the recording. But either way, I can't play it perfectly when I take everything else away. That's really hard for me to play the harmony just by itself, because normally it just is a little bit less melodic sounding than the melody itself, and part of it I don't have the right words for how the harmony kind of fits in alongside of the melody, but needs the melody often to help it take its shape. And that's not across the board, but that's for many tunes, especially for some of these notier tunes. And there's often moments where I don't do all 8, if there's 8 eighth notes per measure, I'm not going to do all 8 eighth notes. There's kind of, I might take a breath, and then come in again. So like on that first measure. Or nope. So that gives you some ideas for the beginning of that A part. That just to recap that third measure, I might do. And then now that end phrase. Sorry. Here we have our D arpeggio. And resolving to a note that's either, you could look at that as a note that's in the D chord or a note that's in the A chord. That's a spot where the guitar or piano, any chord instrument, could go to a quick 5 chord and really help it bounce back into the 1, or you could just stay on the 1. And that's a moment where the note that I play, I might go, if I'm staying in the D chord, or if I want that quick 5 sound. So I'm staying on the A for the melody, but I might go to the F sharp to create the D sound, or I might go to the E to create the A major sound. Which a quick 5 just does a really nice job bouncing you back into that melody. So then we're back at the top of the A part. And we already talked about some ideas there. And then it continues the ending. We could do that arpeggio. Or I was going to end on the A there, but it didn't happen. So again, my point with this video is to just give you a couple starter ideas, get you working on it on your own, and exploring some of your options for that. So let's look at the B part. It's nice when we can find something that's perfect. Yeah. So what would I do there? I don't want to start on my B because it goes higher, and I don't have that C real comfortably shifting. So, however, I can skip the note. Instead of doing, I can go. And so I'm kind of avoiding one of the notes, which would make those harmonies sound a little too tight together, but I'm following that nice walk down a third above. Here's the B. I could just stay on the B, A, G, or I could do a, and that would give me a lot of options. I think that works. I can't hear that working right now in my head. But so we could start in a different spot of that G arpeggio. Instead of starting on the G, we could start on the D. Then one note to add for you as you start it again. I like this best. And then the second phrase goes. Then it has the of the melody. That note that we play, that G sharp, really indicates a E chord, and that's the 5 of the 5, which is a thing to pay attention to if you want to pay attention to these numbers. But the 5 of the 5 also is the major 2. But that E there feels really good, and so going for any note of that E chord. So I might go. Where the melody is going. But then I would want to resolve back to. So it'd be. I'll do that again. And that will have some nice 5 energy and then background. And then it starts again. And that walk down, you can, at the end of the 2nd measure and also the 6th measure, you could absolutely do the walk down or just kind of hang out and let the melody do it. Then we have. That's a much easier one to follow with a really tight harmony. Or I'll try that again. It's starting on the B. It's the exact same pattern. It's really parallel. Skip up, walk down. So that's a whole bunch of ideas. I'm going to go ahead and play the tune real slowly. See if you can jump into the harmony at a few spots. Even if it's just, ooh, there's the first note. Instead of starting on the A, I'll start on the F sharp. Or if it's just remembering on the B that you can go. That all of those are lovely options. Play along anything that is accentuating the melody or going alongside the melody is a wonderful thing to do. So here's the tune. Top. G. G chord. A arpeggio. Again. Here's your arpeggio. One more. something I recognize is that I often find a harmony for the A part that is high or lower than the A part, and then a harmony for a B part that's the opposite. So on this one, my fingers want to play a lower harmony on the A part and a higher harmony on the B part. Or sometimes, on a different tune, it might be vice versa. And I think that that's okay. I've never had someone say, oof, you switched your harmonies parts there. It is nicest when one can do a whole lower harmony and then a whole higher harmony, and it's nice in a big arrangement of a group of people. But so often an A part is lower and a B part is higher, or vice versa. And so sometimes we just get pushed out because of the range of the fiddle or the range of the melody, and you don't have that lower fifth string, or you're not comfortable shifting up high. And so I think that's fine. And there's some tunes where I'm happy harmonizing higher. Like in that B part, I want to go. Sorry. Oh no, I think that, never mind. In my head, I was higher than the melody and then lower than the melody there. And I wasn't, as it turns out. But I think it's okay if in a tune there's part of A part or a B part where you're higher and then another part where you're down lower. I think it's okay to switch back and forth. It might not be ideal, but it certainly, no matter what, is going to enhance the melody to have that harmony part in. So don't feel limited, like, oh, I have to stay below or I have to stay above. Both are great for exploration right now. So again, this is just some ideas. By no means should anything that I played be considered as what you should go for on the harmony there, but just some ideas to get your brain thinking about it. And I hope that more of you are continuing to feel more and more comfortable trying out some harmony notes and finding some spots where you could veer away from the melody into kind of a counter melody that supports what's going on.